All right, so today we're jumping into this really powerful modern parable. It's all about a cosmic battle, but not just good versus evil. No, this is a fight between the cold, hard frost of logic and the messy, unquantifiable warmth of human meaning. Let's get into it. And boom, right out of the gate, this line just hits you. We're not talking about regular soldiers here. These enforcers are living equations. Their whole purpose is to force a kind of mathematical order onto all of existence. I mean, talk about a terrifyingly grand ambition. So here's the core of the whole problem, right? You have this being, the uncanny God, and he looks out at the universe with all its chaos, all its passion, all its unpredictability, and he doesn't see beauty. He just sees a flawed problem, a messy equation that he believes only he can solve with absolute, chilling order. Okay, now this is a really cool and super important idea. The armor of irony. This isn't literal armor you can touch. It's a metaphysical shield, and its whole job is to repel things like hope, spirit, and meaning. Everything the story calls the Golden Shepherd's light. Their main mission is to create a world where that human warmth just can't survive anymore. So who are these enforcers? Let's meet the first one. This is the Knight of Speed, also known as the Obsidian Glider. And as you can guess, his whole world is about absolute efficiency and velocity. So his job is to hunt down what the story calls curved lines. Now think about what that actually means. A straight line is logical, predictable, efficient. But a curved line? That's whim, that's desire, that's individuality. It's anything that dares to deviate from a pre-planned path. His entire mission is to straighten out every single one of those curves in the human soul. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can hear it straight from the glider himself. He patrols the avenues of necessity. What a great name for the rigid paths his master created. His purpose is simple: enforce conformity and make sure nobody ever dares to stray. And how he does it? Well, it's kind of poetic, but also absolutely terrifying. He doesn't just kill his enemies. He uses katanas made from moon shards to literally sever their desire. His movement is called a physical syllogism, a perfect logical argument in motion. And what's left behind? Not a trail of destruction, but the cold hum of data. He genuinely thinks that if he's fast enough, he can outrun that deep-seated fear of being small and mortal. So from pure speed, we move on to something different. Let's talk about the second knight. This is the Knight of Magic, the Orichalcum Wizard, and he deals with the unseen forces of the soul. So if the glider's job is to just get rid of anything that doesn't fit, the wizard, he recycles it. He takes all that messy, chaotic energy from human emotions, what the god calls the friction of inefficient spirits, and he actually transforms it. He turns things like suffering and passion into a clean, programmable fuel for his god's cosmic engine. Yeah, chilling, right? He's not just controlling people. He's literally farming their deepest pain. To him, despair isn't a human tragedy. It's kinetic energy. And souls? They're no longer sacred. They're just variables you plug into an equation to get the right answer. You can see it right here. His whole deal is like this dark, twisted alchemy. He's using shadow magic to filter souls. He's taking the raw, chaotic fire of something called the Omega effect and twisting it into predictable power. And with that energy, he literally builds these calculus spires out of people's harnessed despair. He is the horrifying bridge between the messy reality of life and the sterile logic his master wants. And that brings us to the final knight. You could call him the heavy artillery, the Knight of Fire, Solaris the Volcanic Guardian, the embodiment of pure, overwhelming force. Solaris's job is to basically be a giant wall, a bulwark against hope itself. He uses the raw power of a star to burn away anything considered irrational. And in this new world, what's irrational? Things like memory, dreams, grace. But the real kicker, the big irony here, is that he's this being of pure fire, pure heat, and his whole job is to bring a cold, logical frost to the human heart. And this quote, man, it just nails that contradiction perfectly. He uses his overwhelming fire to enforce a cold logic, stamping out any tiny spark of hope for something more, for that warmth of the shepherd's grace they're so desperate to erase. And this is where you really see the central paradox of who he is.
He wields cosmic power. We're talking gamma rays and solar eclipse energy. But at the end of the day, he's just a gear in what's called a clockwork hell. He's a being of immense heat and fire, yet he serves a cold, emotionless master that hates that very warmth. His entire existence is a contradiction, burning away the past to guarantee a sterile future.
So, you've got the knights, speed, magic, fire. They're all in place. Now we get to the endgame, the Uncanny God's ultimate philosophy, the justification for all of this. And this quote, this is it. This is the heart of the entire terrifying philosophy. It's a statement that just dismisses the search for meaning entirely. The question, why are we here, becomes irrelevant. All that matters now is, how do we function efficiently? Life itself gets reframed, you know? It's no longer a gift, it's a messy biological accident that needs to be fixed.
Just look at this comparison. It lays it all out, plain and simple. The old way of things ran on purpose, on meaning, on the poetry and beautiful chaos of human whim. But the Uncanny God's new universe, it throws all of that out and replaces it with process, function, and the cold, hard logic of a syllogism. It's a complete rewrite of the rules of reality.
But what happens when you actually win a war like this? What's the result of a perfectly ordered, logical universe? Well, that takes us to the parable's tragic conclusion. It really makes you wonder, right? If you successfully get rid of all the inefficiency, all the chaos, all the suffering, what have you actually achieved? What's the prize at the end? What do you get for solving the universe? Well, the answer is just devastating. Turns out, even with absolute power, there's still this phantom itch of inadequacy. That feeling of mortal smallness, they couldn't outrun it after all. Their perfect logical world, all those shiny silver towers, they weren't a paradise. They were a tomb, a giant monument to the humanity they had to destroy to build it. And that's the thing, right? That's what makes the victory so completely hollow. They tried to replace the poetry of existence with cold, hard logic, but they couldn't actually destroy it. That need for meaning, for purpose, the ghost of the shepherd, it just kept whispering in the perfect silent world they created. It haunted them. And it all comes down to this final, brutal line. The ultimate prize for solving everything is just this profound emptiness, the numbness of the solved. The story suggests this entire cosmic war wasn't really about making a better universe at all. It was about building a prison big enough to hide their own fear of being small and insignificant. A really powerful thought to leave you with.